Before we get into this video, I just want to give like a quick heads up, trigger warning type of thing. In this video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about sexual assault, sexual harassment, and predatory behavior. I'm not going into any graphic detail, but if the subject matter itself is triggering for you, or it's just not the vibe today, then, skip this video. Maybe I'll see you in the next one. Next, I kind of want to set like the intention for this video. I don't know. If you've been rocking with me for a minute, then you know me as a booktuber. So if you look at my back catalog of videos, you're going to find mostly book reviews and like a couple of TV shows and movies. So this is kind of out of my lane, which is why back like, I guess 6 months ago, when the allegations against Cody Co first came out, I didn't say anything. I didn't make a video. Kind of regret that decision. Like I feel like I probably should have, if not just like as a matter of integrity. And I'll get into that later. I'm making this video not because I want to try and capitalize on the latest development in a big internet scandal that I missed last time or whatever, but because as I branch out and start to talk about other topics, I kind of want to do what I've been doing, not just with books, but with like bad movies or crazy TV shows or other moments on the internet or something. I don't know. I haven't really thought it all the way through yet. But I'm aware that like the commentary YouTube space is kind of a boys club, and it's not necessarily a safe space for like women and not men. And while I'm not super interested in joining a boys club, as a cis het man, I don't know if that's fully in my control. It might be slightly inevitable, and we can't control the privileges that we have. We can only control how we try and use them. So what I'm trying to say is like, while I benefit from cisgendered male privilege, I want to do my very best to cultivate a space where women and non-men feel safe. I don't have the right to say that I'm a safe person. That's your call. But TLDR, I want to just draw a line in the sand and say, I don't fuck with this shit. And maybe that's grandstanding, maybe that's self-righteous, and you probably don't care, but I just think it's important to stay off the jump. So for those of you who don't know, not sure why you clicked on this video, but Cody Co is or was a very successful YouTuber who was like one of YouTube's golden boys. And for me, was like the commentary YouTuber. He first gained popularity and like got a platform from Vine. Y'all remember Vine? And then when Vine died, he moved on to YouTube. And I think that he really started to get like traction from his That's Cringe series with comedian Noel Miller, which led to a very successful podcast and blah, 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 blah. So about 6 or 7 months ago, my wife was working as a hairstylist. She was cutting one of her regular clients' hair, and he knew that she and I used to watch Cody Co videos together. So he was like, yo, have you heard about Cody Co? And she was like, no. What's up with Cody Co? By the way, that's not how my wife talks. I'm just bad at impressions. Apparently, allegations against Cody Co had surfaced in a really big way that years ago he knowingly hooked up with another YouTuber named Tana Mongeau when he was 25 and she was 17 years old. This clip from a live show version of Tana's podcast was going around.
The smallest you've ever had sex with?
Oh my God, no one look at me, Cody Co. I can say that. I was literally 17, I can say that.
And then later she clarified again on her podcast.
I hooked up with Cody Co when I was 17 and he was 25. It was a situation with Gabby Hanna at a Playlist Live where she pulled him aside and told him like, yo, she's 17. And then we still went and hooked up.
And unfortunately, but unsurprisingly, Tana, who is kind of a controversial figure who has a history of lying and some other problematic behavior, wasn't necessarily believed. So as I'm editing this video and watching some of the clips back, more thoughts are coming to me. And I say this in the original recording. The fact that Tana Mongeau is a controversial like figure. Main example that I know of is like she's said some stuff on the internet and also put together something that was kind of like her Fyre Fest. But like none of that matters because even if she wasn't a controversial figure with a history of lying and problematic behavior, people still wouldn't believe her because of misogyny. That's why a lot of women don't come forward. It just so happens that because she is a bit of a controversial figure with a history of problematic behavior, I'm getting tired of saying that, that's what people used against her. But if it wasn't that, it would have just been something else. Even if Tana Mongeau wasn't a controversial figure and didn't have a history of lying and problematic behavior, probably still wouldn't have been believed and would have gotten a lot of hate for this statement because of misogyny, because Cody Co has worked so hard to keep his like public persona, reputation squeaky clean. As this story kind of spread, I learned more stuff about him that if I had known, I wouldn't have ever been a fan. Going back to my notes, I believe that it was because of a video by D'Angelo Wallace, this clip from Gabby Hanna, another YouTuber from like years ago. So this is unprompted, and this is like a story that she's telling, kind of corroborates Tana's story, because it's, even though Gabby doesn't name Cody Co in the story, it matches Tana's side of the story.
I told a guy, I saw him making out with a girl at a party who was underage, and I pulled him aside and I was like, hey man, you probably don't know, I know she like looks a little older, she's underage, watch it. And he's like, oh my God, thank you for telling me. And then he heard that.
I was talking to a family member who was also a fan of Cody Co, and when all this broke loose, you know, they were very like, well, you know, he was younger, he was made a stupid decision, he should have known better. But watching back this clip, it's like, nah, he knew better. That's why he thanked Gabby Hanna and then proceeded to do it anyway. He knew what he was doing was wrong. He knows that his behavior is problematic, and that's why he's working so hard to cover it up. It's not, oh, a dumb mistake. This is a predator. Allegedly a predator. Sorry. So this story kind of broke out. You know, a lot of commentary YouTubers were talking about this. I'm sure that this is one of hundreds of videos now. And this is kind of embarrassing to admit, but I'm kind of like a naive person. I like to believe that people are good, even though most of the time people prove me wrong and I end up feeling kind of stupid. Thought eventually he'd make some kind of statement, but he didn't. The closest thing anyone got to a statement was him playing Sorry by Justin Bieber at a DJing gig in Vegas. And then eventually he just like didn't post again. He just like, I guess, disappeared, wasn't posting anything anywhere until December 23rd, 2024, Christmas Eve.
Happy Christmas Eve.
Cody puts out a 21-minute vlog documenting his preparation for an ultra marathon that he ran back in November. And then at the last minute, like literally the final 60 seconds, dude says this.
Being creative, doing this type of thing and putting it out there, it's just in my DNA. I need to do it, and so I'm gonna do it. Obviously, I understand I've been offline for months, haven't made videos for, you know, that whole time. And I also understand if your opinion of me has potentially changed over the last few months. You know, I spent the first half of my career criticizing people and judging people online. So, you know, I don't begrudge your judgment of me by any means. I just think all I can do right now and moving forward is just try to be the best person I can be for myself and for my family, and just try to continue putting the best shit out there that I can. So that's what I'm going to do. And if you stick around to watch it, I very much appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, truly.
I don't think I say this in the original recording, but my biggest problem with this statement is that statements like these are dangerous. The allegations, he's not talking about the real reason. Like, he knows the real reason why people are upset at him. He knows why our opinion of him has changed. He's just trying to gloss over it and ignore it. Men like this who build their career off of being nice and likable and relatable and like not a cool guy, but like a cool guy. They use that reputation, they use that image, that brand identity of the nice guy to protect them from the consequences of their own actions, from their own predatory behavior. There are other men out there who will like gain a bunch of power and silence their victims that way. And talking about this with my wife and talking about this with a couple of friends, like, you just keep thinking, like, why would someone do this? Why would someone do these things? And like, I mean, the answer is kind of obvious, like, they're creeps. I think most men who do these things also have the ego to think that they'll get away with it. They think that they're likable enough to get away with it, you know? In conversations with like friends and other comedians or other writers or whatever, we always hear about like people not wanting us to tell our stories of how we've been treated by them. And our response is almost always, hey, if you don't want us to talk about the fucked up shit you do, don't do fucked up shit. And in the same way, it's like, hey, you don't want to, you know, people to talk about you having sex with a minor, don't have sex with minors. It's like really easy. You know, I think it's almost sad to be like, all I can do is stuff I was gonna do anyway. Trigger warning, this gonna be some nerd shit. In the anime and manga My Hero Academia, there is a character named Endeavor who is an incredibly abusive husband and father. He's obsessed with being the best superhero in the world or creating the best superhero in the world, and he drives his wife insane, drives his son insane, abuses, like, I think he has 4 kids or something. And part of his character arc is realizing that he's a piece of shit, and he wants to atone for that by just doing what he was already doing, and he doesn't do anything extra to apologize to his children or his wife or make things right or own up or hold himself accountable or anything. And this kind of reminds me of that. Like, Cody makes no mention of spending the last little bit of time, I don't know, learning, growing, unpacking his misogyny, maybe, I don't know, behind closed doors, apologize to Tana Mongeau. No mention of reading The Will to Change by Bell Hooks or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so hollow to be like, all I can do is get back to business and try to go back to being a good guy. This is some bullshit. Like, if that's all you can do, you're not doing enough, you know? At the very least, when we do wrong, when we cause harm, because we all do wrong and we all cause harm at some point, the very least we can do is learn from it and do better. And I'm not really hearing I'm gonna do better or I'm trying to learn how to do better. And it's not just the allegations against him that I take issue with, it's the silence. And I get into that later on in the video, but I think enabling the people who are trying to discredit Tana Mongeau and defending Cody was an act of violence in and of itself, and that's part of what I think that he needs to own up to at this point. Like, this is less than nothing. It might have been better to just stay away, Cody. I don't know. You're generic looking enough. You could have made some money as a Connor Price impersonator for birthday parties. I remember back when all this was being discussed the first time, Jarvis Johnson and Jordan Adika put out like an episode of the Sad Boys podcast to discuss this, and Jarvis says this.
Yeah. And if he ever responds, like, people should, be very critical of that response.
And they were. Look at some of these comments. Bro was testing the waters on the smallest platform that he has. Interesting tactic. Yeah, testing the waters, definitely. I wondered if maybe it's also so he can say, like, I said sorry, kind of. I talked about it, but doesn't have to open himself up to the massive amount of criticism that he deserves. Why is he trying to act like he already apologized and trying to move forward? Is he gaslighting his audience? It seems that way. Like, this statement is nothing except trying to, I think, even make the issue or make the reason people are unhappy with Cody Ko now is because of something else and not the alleged sexual assault of a minor. The reason people's opinion of you may have changed in recent months is not because you used to criticize and make fun of people online. It's because what you did is wrong. It's as simple as that. Yeah, like, to even say, like, oh, people's opinion of me has changed is an attempt to try to take away some of the weight of why people are angry with this guy, why people are disappointed in this guy. We're talking about sexual assault of a minor, dog. This is serious, and you're kind of making it seem like you did something not that bad. Another one talking about the gaslighting is your apology was forgiving us. And yeah, that's a weird, like, I don't begrudge anyone for judging me. I was like, good. And even if you did, you don't really have a leg to stand on there, dog. Like, oh, people are mad at me because I fucked a kid. Like, that's crazy. Always training to run away from the police is very good. I like that one. Waiter, 1 ukulele, please. That's, that's good. I like that one. I don't even have anything to add to that. That's just want to make sure people know that's a thing. Cody Ko admit to what he did challenge. Impossible edition. If someone were to tell me that legally he isn't able to address this or admit to what he did allegedly because of the implications, like it could fuck up his visa, could lead to jail time or something, I don't know. And even if someone were to tell me this, I'd be like, sure, it's still nothing. And still, like, at the very least, as somebody who tried to kind of present himself like someone who would be against misogyny, even if he didn't fully understand or unpack his own, should have called out the misogyny that was being like thrown at Tana Mongeau because of these allegations. And anytime controversy about like a public figure breaks out, people want to pretend like they was woke the whole time. They always hated this person and they're on the right side of history or whatever. I'm not going to do that. I've seen people on like TikTok and Instagram in posts kind of covering this topic being like, I've been praying for the downfall of Cody Co since 2016 or whatever. And I'll read some of those. I'm like, were you? Because that's a weird thing to pray for, dog. Y'all ain't got more important things to pray for? That's crazy. You've been living a good life. But I was like a big Cody Co fan. And maybe that's a red flag in and of itself, and that's fair. Honestly, given what we're talking about, super fair. But yeah, I used to listen to the TMG podcast all the time. I was a patron for a little bit, and me and my wife would sit and watch, like, you know, when him and Noel would react to some cringe, or he'd be watching The Button or whatever. Like, I was a fan. Cody Co was like the first YouTuber I would go out of my way to watch and I would like keep up with. When I started my BookTube channel, I think that I mentioned him in a couple of videos. I know that I talked to my patrons about him a little bit before all this broke out. I was fooled. I got. I never saw the Vine of him saying the N-word 50 times. That would have been it for me. I didn't know who Colby Leachman was. I didn't know about the allegations against him. I didn't know Cody had a guy like that in his vlogs or in his personal life. Like, he came to the wedding. And I didn't know about this, like, I guess sort of open secret amongst big YouTubers. Like, how would I know that? I'm not one. But yeah, I was fooled. I got. And there's so many people like Cody Co. Like, last week, at the time of recording, Blake Lively filed a lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. And I didn't know much about Justin Baldoni. Like, I'd never seen him in anything. But I remember, like, when I heard about this lawsuit, I was like, oh, the dude who like wrote a book called Man Enough? Doesn't he have a podcast? Doesn't he have a podcast by the same name? Didn't he just win like some award? I guess not anymore because his co-host left, and his Vital Voices Award, which is an award program that honors remarkable men who have shown courage and compassion in advocating for women and girls worldwide. That was rescinded. I'll give you an even more personal example. Back in like 2018, I was a nobody musician instead of a nobody YouTuber, and I really looked up to this dude, Bodie Jones. He was like a bigger fish in the small pond of the Vancouver music scene. I contributed to him making this album that never came out. I got to meet him. He was very nice to me. He was very supportive my workout and mental health journey as I was trying to get my like mind and body right. Still working on that, by the way. And he gave me advice about being an artist. And like, in general, seemed like he had a pretty good reputation, was known for being a great writer and like a nice person. And then he was arrested for assaulting multiple women at his job as an RMT. Some men have figured out the right words to say. The words hold no meaning for them. They learn to repeat the words and they build brands off of basic feminism, cultivate an image of being a nice guy, a safe guy. And I'd call men like Cody Co wolves in sheep's clothing. But I feel like because that idiom is so cliche, it loses its teeth, even though it's pretty accurate. This behavior is predatory. Men who do what these men allegedly did are predators. And like, I'm going off script again real quick, but even in like, I forgot the Colby Leachman's name, whatever. So I was like, looking him up real quick on my phone. Found a Reddit post of someone sharing more vlogs where Cody's done stuff like this before, where he's included like teenage girls in his vlogs and has been weird around them. And it's just speculation. It's just hearsay, but I'm not going to make any accusations or allegations because I'm not a man of the law. But yeah, these fake nice guys are everywhere. Hard to tell which ones are genuine and which ones have ulterior motives. I was talking to my wife about this a little bit over the last couple of days as I've been writing this video, and she said that a nice guy is almost a red flag now because they almost always end up being a creep. And hot take, being a predator and using your privilege to silence women or try to escape the consequences of your actions, it's not fucking nice, bro. Honestly, I could probably make a whole other video about nice guys as a general concept and not just the brand identity that guys like this try to present. Because like, if you're nice but only to people that you're attracted to or only to people that you want to try to get something from, you're just not nice. And I've spoken kind of generally about men, so I'm sure there's somebody in the comments who's like, hashtag not all men. You've seen this Daniel Sloss clip, right?
If you are sick of the narrative that is currently going on about men, feel free to change it, but you have to get involved. Don't make the same mistake I did for years, which was just sitting back and be like, well, I'm not part of the problem, therefore I must be part of the solution, because that's just not how this fucking shit works. I believe, and deep down I know that most men are good. Of course we are. But when 1 in 10 men are shit and the other 9 do nothing, they might as well not fucking be there. Being good on the inside counts for absolutely fuck all. You have to actively be good and get involved. Instead of having this fucking hero complex of being like, I'm going to beat up, fucking prevent one, stop one, because I know it can be done, because I know how I fucking failed at it. Because if I'm being 100% honest with myself, were there signs in my friend's behavior over the years towards women that I ignored? The answer is yes. And that's on me until the day I die. Talk to your fucking boys. Get involved. Just to the men in the room, I want to make something crystal clear. This is not meant to be a fucking lecture or someone on the high horse telling you something. It's a man who fell off his fucking horse. It's a man who fucking failed. And these are just the things I wish I'd known a couple of years ago. If you think this does not affect the women in your life, talk to them after this show and watch your world crumble before your very eyes.
Not preying on people, not assaulting people, not hooking up with minors is like less than the bare minimum. If you don't do that shit, congratulations. You're fucking normal. We can't just be not bad. We need to be actively good. Some men who cannot separate their identity or their self-worth from their identity as a man will say weird catchphrases like men protect and provide. And it's like, okay, do you provide a safe space for the women in your life to talk about their experiences with a Cody Co, with a Justin Baldoni? Because statistically, they probably have an experience with a Cody Co or a Justin Baldoni. And if they don't feel safe to talk to you about it, that's a problem. And it's likely that they don't have the same like power and privileges and resources like Blake Lively or Tana Mongeau. Do you, as a man, try to protect women in your life from backlash and accusations if they come forward about their experiences? And I'm thankful, and I know that Tana Mongeau wasn't speaking up of this experience in a grandiose, I'm gonna call this out kind of way. I think in the live show, it seems very offhanded, clarifies later on in her podcast, but she still did come forward. And I think that it's good that she did, and it's good that she has the platform that she does, because someone without that platform could have gotten buried or overwhelmed. Same thing with Blake Lively. She has the resources to file this lawsuit. And other cast members, even on that movie that she was in with Justin Baldoni, don't have those resources. Earlier in the video, I mentioned that I felt like I probably should have said something when the story first broke out. And nobody was asking me. This is a small ass channel. I don't really think anybody cares what I have to say on this. But at the same time, I feel like to say nothing would be being complacent. I have these conversations with my dad, my brother, my friends as much as I can. And I'm thankful that they've been receptive to what I have to say, and we've been able to learn and grow together. Not just talking about how we can be not misogynistic, but how we can cultivate a culture of healthy masculinity together. But I also feel like I want that to be a part of whatever else I do. I don't want to be this kind of dude who's like, these guys suck, follow me instead, give me your money. Because guys who do that are part of the problem. Robbie Harvey, Watchful Coyote on TikTok. Oh, y'all don't remember them? That's fine. It doesn't matter. TikTok's going away. What I want to do is make content that people find entertaining, want to make people laugh, help people, feel less alone while they do their chores or do their art homework or something. I don't want to make a bunch of content like this or about stuff like this, but there are times where I see something happen or I see something and I feel like it's important for me to say, this is wrong and we can be better. I don't fuck with dudes like this. My biological father was a dude like this. He was a nice guy until he found out I was on the way, and then he turned out to be another creep, just like all these other creeps. I don't ever want to treat people the way that he treated my mom, and I don't fuck with dudes who treat people like that. And I think it's important that when a woman comes forward with a story about sexual assault, sexual abuse, or being groomed or something like that, that we believe them, because they know the stigma. They know the risks of backlash or being silenced or not believed or whatever, and they're coming forward anyway. And again, I can't help how somebody's going to interpret me, but I'm not trying to say that I'm way better than every other dude on the internet or something. I'm not. I've made my mistakes. I've certainly had my toxic days. I really regret the way that I've treated like exes in my past and stuff like that. So let's not get it twisted. I am deeply grateful for the support and the trust that my community has given me. I am not trying to elevate myself. I just want to make my values clear on the subject. I don't want to cause harm as a creator, as a person. Just because I don't want to cause harm doesn't mean I'm incapable of causing harm. Unlearning misogyny and being anti-toxic masculinity is all a work in process. If the best way for a viewer to feel like safe around me is to not interact with me at all or keep me at arm's length, that's super fine. Women's safety matters more than male ego, and that includes me. And I understand that some people will say this video is unnecessary. Most videos are unnecessary. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. I didn't do any of this at the beginning of the video because it felt weird. Feels weird now, I won't lie to you. But yeah, I just want to thank my patrons, my Plus Ultra Don't Fretters, Peggy Luhu, JJ Valdez, and Laughing Cat Dog. My Super Duper Don't Fretters, Lauren, Desi, Cassie, Shade, and Oliver. And if you're new here, hi, my name is D. I do mostly like book reviews, but I'm starting to do like weird movies and TV shows and stuff like that. So if that's your vibe, feel free to subscribe. Ugh, that rhymed. I hate it. Whatever. And if that's not your vibe, that's totally cool. Thanks for watching anyway. Have a good one. Peace.